very important you master your environment. What makes you a pro? What makes you a pro designer is that you know how to navigate your way, you know how to use the tools and all of that. So today I'll be talking about two things today. I think property bar and the fonts using typography. But then if I don't have all the time for typography, we'll just stay on the property bar. Are you getting me? So let me not even put typography yet. So the first thing I want you to know is that the property bar is at the right side of the screen, which is where my mouse is hovering. If you are just joining, put your phone on landscape. The next thing is the property bar changes. Take note of this thing. It changes, changes, with respect to whatever you are selecting. In the case where you are not selecting anything, it's going to give you, I'm not selecting anything now. I've clicked outside my Canva. I've clicked on my design Canva rather. So when you are not selecting anything, the property bar is going to give you the property of your page. Can you see page here? Can you see page? All right.
Yes, sir.
So that's the next thing you need to know. Then the next thing you need to know is that, okay, I've selected text now. It has given me the property of a text. If I select frame, you see that it has changed to different frames, right? If I select maybe line, you see that it has changed to line. If I draw a line now, I see that property bar is changing with respect to whatever you are selecting. Are you taking note of that?
Yes.
What I'm teaching is very important too. Please follow me. The next thing I want you to know now is that the property bar comprises of different sections. COMP DIFFERENT SECTION. Different sections. So what separates each section? Let me put full stop. Each section, EACH. If you like, leave the meeting now. I'll not beg you. Each section. Some people are leaving. Okay, you already know property bar. Fine. Each section is DIVID divided by a line, a thin line. What I'm trying to do is to help you master the environment. So notice that are you seeing the design text here? Did you see this? Okay, the next one is prototype, right? The property bar has design and prototype. Design is your normal design mode, while prototype is when you want to start giving instruction. We'll get to prototype also, but let's stay on design. So the first section is this part. It's called your alignment section. Can somebody say alignment?
Alignment.
So the alignment, yeah, let me just bring another subheading. I'm recording the session anyway. Alignment. Okay, let's call these sections property bar sections. SECTION. When you know this thing, you'll be designing like a pro. Sections of property bar, PROPERTY. So the first one is called alignment. The alignment section helps you align. Number one, ALLIG. Is it double L? I guess it's one L. ALI. Oh God, help me. Okay, alignment section. That's the first section. SECTION. So the alignment section helps you. Can you see that it's inactive? Did you notice? The reason why it's inactive is because you are not inside a frame. If I bring up a frame now, let's say I get a phone frame. I like using iPhone 13. They've updated. Did you notice that they've updated the phone frame? Because we currently have iPhone 15 now and iPhone 15 Pro Max. Before now, it was iPhone 14 Pro Max that was the highest. Then you could see iPhone 13 Pro, iPhone 13 mini, and normal. Are you getting me? But now they've combined iPhone 13 and 14. It's only when you are used to this thing you will notice it. Are you getting me? When the interface and the updates are happening on Figma, as a pro designer, you need to be noticing those things. You get? So recently they updated to iPhone 15 Pro Max. Are you getting me? Now you can do designs in iPhone 15 Pro Max screen. Are you getting me? So when I take my frame, I'm trying to talk about the alignment property. Remember, your frame is your container, right? Right?
Yes, sir.
You don't design on the empty canvas. You design inside the frame depending on what you want to do. Lately, I started doing graphic design even on Figma. When I started out with Figma, I was only doing mobile app and websites. But now I can do graphic design. I can even do, see what I did? I did CV for somebody. I shouldn't be showing you this. So you can even do your CV on Figma. Are you getting me? You select, when you go to frame, you select, oh, I'm recording this thing. Brother, please forgive me. If you go to your frame, you have phone frame, tablet, desktop, presentation. Can you see paper? So if you click on paper, you can do a design on A4, A5, A6. You can do letterhead. You can, for social media posts, I use Instagram, which is 180 by 180. But that's by the way. I'm just trying to tell you that you need to understand the environment. Then secondly, we're talking about containers now because we want to talk about alignment. Container is where you do your design. You design inside the container. So if I put, let's say, a rectangle, I'm not using those style guide or design system for now, inside this container. Can you see it? When you click on the container, you can't see my screen. Who else cannot see my screen? You leave the meeting and join again. Leave the meeting and join. Yeah, that's how it works. Huh? So this is how it is. So can you see I can move the container with the content inside? Are you getting me? We want to talk about the property bar. So the first thing I want you to know, the first section of the property bar is called alignment. I want to take my time to explain. So the first one is align to left. You can align the content of your design. Take for instance, what are you doing? This is a rectangle, right? So if I press align left, see what's going to happen. It has gone to the left part of that container. Are you seeing that? If I press align middle, horizontal, it goes to the middle. I want you to know, yes? Exactly. Now I'm showing you the alignment. Wait, come again, come again. The problem is maybe you are not using a frame. That's one problem. Then secondly, sometimes, just take for instance, we may get to layer, but then I want to show something now. If I take this rectangle outside this frame now, you see that the rectangle is still on top of the frame, right? But in the layer, the rectangle is outside the frame. So if I move the frame now, the rectangle will not move. Are you seeing it? Maybe this is your problem. You understand? So it's either you are using a rectangle as your frame, or maybe you are using a normal frame, but your content is not inside the frame. Are you getting me? So I'll click on the layer now and drag it inside the frame like that. So it's not inside the frame. If I click on the frame, it's moving. But I'm trying to talk about the property bar. So the first section you need to know is called alignment. Can somebody say alignment? So you can align the content of your design either left, middle, right. You can even put it at the top. You don't use alignment only when the content is inside a frame. Let me show you something. Take for instance now, that first design we did for some of us that joined that carousel, you understand? Or let's say we have, let's say I duplicate this stuff like this. I'll bring this on here, I'll bring this other one here. If I want to put them together, I can just click and drag over all of them. I've selected them. If I come to my alignment, I can align them horizontal, vertical, center. Are you seeing that they are not aligned together? I'm showing you how to use the alignment though. Are you seeing that? Let's say my content is like this now. Let's say it's like this. And I want to put them on a straight line. I select all of them. I'll click align like that. Are you seeing that? Can you see what I'm doing?
Yes, sir.
I'm showing you. I don't just want you to become to the environment and you don't know these things. So I'm taking my time. So the first section, like I said, is the alignment. So the alignment has both left, not both. Both is not the correct English. The alignment has left alignment. Okay, align left, align horizontal center. Horizontal center is this one I just did now. While vertical center is when you are aligning like this. If you want them to come together like this, that's vertical. Are you getting me? Another way to do that, you can also do align to the top. If you want three of them now to be at the top together, I might not have all the examples for us, but just know how to use this thing. It still gets together. Are you getting me? So you can align to the bottom depending on how you want to use it. Another thing you need to know in the property bar is called spacing between items. That spacing between items is always somewhere around here, directly under this. But then if your space between your items, your elements, is not equal, you won't see that stuff here. How do you get it? If you come to this last alignment option, it's called more option. I can click on it and distribute horizontal to make it equal. I see my space between items has appeared. Can you see the property bar? I'm showing you the property bar. Oh. Are we together? So the spacing between items currently is 91. I can play with it. If I want it to be 50, I can keep it at 50. Are you getting me? Let's say I'm doing a design, maybe a carousel. Remember, for our layout grid, for those of us that have done layout grid, what's it called? Oh God, the gutter is always 20, right? Let's say I'm designing something I want to lay on my screen. I've not set up design system for this particular file, so I don't have the layout grid. But I know that gutter is 20. I can put 20 spacing and just arrange them inside my container like this. You can see that, right? So that's for the alignment. You can drag your content in and out of the frame. So the next thing, you can also distribute horizontally. Let's say the spacing is not equal. This one, when it's equal, you see the number, like you can see the 90, right? When it's equal, you see the number. When it's not equal, you won't find it. So if I want to make it equal, I can just select all three, go over to the more option, distribute vertical spacing like that. It's now equal. You can see it's spaced by 95. I can give it 50 also, like that. So that's the first section of your property bar. You can jot it down or just take notes. The video is also recorded. Stay to the end so that I can ask questions. So the next section of the property bar is called I don't know the name of, I will not lie to you. But the next section has position, P-O-S-I-T-I-O-N, position, width, W-I-D-T-H, height, H-A-I-G-H-T. In most cases, angle of rotation, A-N-G-L-E, angle rotation. Please, you need to know your environment very well. R-O-T-A-T-I-O-N. Then it also has corner radius. Corner radius happens when you are dealing with shapes and images, or shapes and images. So C-O-R-N-E-R, corner, R-A-D-I-U-S. I'm teaching you the property bar today. So we have property bar, we have sections. Remember I said the property bar changes with respect to whatever you are selecting, right? So I'm not selecting any of my elements in the Canva. What I'm seeing now is the property of the page. Then you can also see your local style when you are not selecting anything. You can see your local style, your style guide. I have one of the designs I did in this file. I think when I was doing this stuff, I created a local style for this. Oh, I can't really see that stuff again. Okay, when I was doing this navigation bar, that's when I did this local style. So my color style guide. But let's just stay on our property bar. So the next session, like I'm saying, is your position. I know most of you would have been seeing this X and Y, right? If you have seen this X and Y before, raise your hand. Then my next question will be, if you know the meaning of X and Y, unmute your mic and talk. If you know the meaning, just one person. Go ahead, go ahead. Exactly, perfect, perfect. So the X and Y gives you the position. You may not know how and when to use it, but I use my X and Y when I'm trying to replicate a particular design. Are you getting me? Remember, one thing you need to get right when it comes to UI UX design is consistency. If there's no consistency in your design, you may not get it right. So I was teaching some persons how to do this design yesterday, and I created a frame. Okay, I won't use this design to teach this stuff. Let's say now I have this frame. Are you seeing this frame? And I click on the rectangle here. Are you seeing the position is 92x and 86? Did you see it? I'm sure you are seeing it. So imagine I bring another frame, for instance, another iPhone 13 frame, just like this, and I want to put a rectangle or maybe a smaller rectangle. Are you getting me? And I want it to start exact, like I want the height or the top. Somebody's mic is on, mute your mic. I want it to have the same position as the X. Let's even check which one is 92. If I change 92 to 90, let's see what's going to happen. If I press enter now, okay, it's shifting to this side. So the X position is the vertical position. I see that the X is changing. As I'm moving, you see that X is changing, right? So your horizontal position is your X. This is the X axis for those of us that did maths. When they taught us, what's it called? What's that topic? Graph, yes. You have something like this. This is your Y axis, right? Then this is your X axis, right? So the position of your content when you are designing, either inside your frame or in the Canva, of course, most time it should be in the frame. So the X axis is like this. So like I said, let's say this one is aligned to the middle. X here is 92, right? That is starting from 92 here. Then the position of Y is 101. So if I want this to stay at 101, see this one now is 155. So if I put it at 101, it goes to that position in this other frame. Are you getting me? So this is how you use your positioning. Are you following? You can position content. Let's say, let me duplicate this. To duplicate, use alternate. Let's say I have this, and I want to position my next element to, Y is this sidebar. It's currently at 286. If I put it at 250, you can see it, right? So I want to also do something like that here. You use position for consistency. It may not make sense to you as I'm teaching you now, but later you will know, okay, you can play around with this stuff. Are you getting? So if I want to put this one to also start at 250, I'll just click on it and go there, put 250. So it's starting at 250 also. Like I said, it may not make sense, but when you need to use position, you know how to use it. Another thing I want to teach us again is not necessarily property bar. So now if I select two items like this, holding shift, you click on the second one, you can know the spacing between them, which is 46, right? Let's say I want 40. Are you getting me? If there is a third element or item and I want it to take exactly this spacing, instead of clicking on it and trying to bring it upwards, I can just click on the second one and click on the third one, knowing that the difference between the first and the second is 40. I can click on the second one and the third one. Remember, to select more than one item, you hold shift. If I click like that, are you seeing 123? So I can change it to 40. So I have the same spacing. Are you seeing it? So this is how you play with your property bar. You need to know these things. Spacing between item, position, alignment. Let's now go to width. So we know width. This is 206. If I make it 100 now, it's going to shrink it. You are seeing that, right? The height is 103. If I make it 120, so you can just play. If I want to still give this spacing now 40, I will select both of them by holding shift. Then I'll change it from 23 to 40. I'm just showing you how to play around your property bar. Are we together? The next thing I want to talk about in the property bar is we're still on this second session, which is width, height, position, angle of rotation. Sometimes when we are creating button, we use angle of rotation, right? Sorry, not rotation, corner radius. Okay, talking about the width and the height, there is something here. It's called constraint proportion. When you want to resize elements, most times, especially shapes, maybe frame and all of that, if you want the height and the width to change together, you keep it on constraint proportion. Let me do a demo of that. So this is currently 206 and 103, right? Let's make this 100 for the height. So if I want to increase this now, and I want, as I'm increasing the width, the height should also increase. If I keep it on constraint proportion, I've just clicked on it, so it's not constrained. So if I increase the width to, let's say, 300, you see that the height also increased. Did you notice? So that's when it's on constraint proportion. Another thing you need to take note of in the Figma environment is this line, or this red line. It's talking about alignment. So this one is saying is aligned to the center. This one is saying is aligned to the center, is aligned to this other one, like that. This one is saying they are aligned. Like, are you seeing those lines? You take note of the lines. Are you seeing that? So that's when it's on constraint. So sometimes when you are resizing something, maybe you imported an image. Let's say, let me get one of these images. Let me just duplicate. To duplicate is alternate. So this image now is currently on 350 by 350. I've taken off the background. So if I uncheck the constraint proportion and I increase the width, see what's going to happen. Let's say I put it on 500. Are you seeing what's happening? It's distorting the image, right? So the shoe is now long. The width of the shoe is long, but that's not what I wanted. I won't do that. So if I put it on constraint now and I change it to 500, everything is going to change, both the width and the height. Are you seeing constraint proportion? You need to know these things. So
Yes, sir.
all right. So the next thing I want you to know in the property bar, let's select something, is called, the next section is called constraint. I won't teach you this one now, because when we are doing responsive design, that's when we use this stuff. But I won't talk about this one now. Let's go to layer. Constraint, let me do a demo of the constraint. Why I'm not teaching now, because it may not be of great value to you yet, until maybe you start working on projects. So take for instance now this constraint section.
What about we that are working on?
All right, that's why I say I will teach it now. I guess that's Chizoba. Is it? I know your voice. So the next section is called constraint, constraint. Remember, the property bar changes with respect to whatever you are, AINT, whatever you are selecting. Now I'm selecting a normal text, I see that there's no constraint proportion there. There's no corner radius. But when I come to frame now, we can find, okay, frame 2 is not showing constraint proportion. I seen it. But if I select a content inside a frame, that's when you see the constraint proportion. So this blue color now is saying this element is, we use this in most time for responsive design. When we're doing responsive design, this element now is constrained to the top center. It means if I increase the length of this frame, the element is not moving. Are you seeing that? Because it's constrained to the top center. But if I put it, let me undo that, Ctrl Z. If I select the element, constraint proportion works with elements inside a frame, right? When I click on these ones outside, I see that there's no constraint proportion. Did you notice that? But when an element is inside a frame, it must not necessarily be a phone frame or a desktop frame. It can be normal frame you drew. Remember, sometimes we used to frame elements, right? Like grouping them together. Somebody asked that question one time, that what's the difference between auto layout, frame, and grouping? If I want to frame this content now, if I highlight it and I right click, can you see frame selection here? If I frame it, I put all of them in one container. Are you seeing that they are together now, ba? We'll leave that. So talking about constraint, if I put it at bottom now, if I increase this stuff, I see that it's following the bottom. You see what's happening, right? This may not make sense to you because let me not discourage you. All right, so it's used most time when we're doing responsive design. So if I say it should, let's take for instance, I've set it to left. It means when I drag this like this, it's not moving. But if I set it to the middle now, when I drag the frame like that, it's also movable. Maybe I didn't set it to it. Okay, I will remove it from left, center like that. So that's what constraint, but this may not make so much sense. So let's leave it for now, please. I'll delete that. Let me duplicate this frame. There are more important sessions. I need to talk about. So after the this second session, the next thing is, okay, like I said, this section just changed. The corner radius is to give it this feel, like you want to bend, give the corner a curve. Let's say 20. I seen that that's what corner radius does. And on the corner radius, we have independent corner radius. So if I undo that, Ctrl Z or Command Z, I'm using a MacBook. So if I want to give it independent corner radius, I see this place where my mouse is. If I click on it, I can give this one 20. You see what just happened? You can create some fanciful buttons or shapes. I can give this other one 20 and I have something like this. Can you see that? So you can do it independently. You can give this one 20 also and you have something like this. Maybe you want to do a chart. Are you getting me? Maybe you are designing a chart screen, right? So if I have something like this, maybe you are designing a messaging app. If I duplicate this guy and I have something like this, I can flip it, right click, flip vertically. Are you seeing the way I'm doing my design? This thing is called high fidelity, low fidelity wireframe. Let's say you're doing your wireframe, you just want to. For those of us that joined me earlier, I told us that before I do my design, I used to map out the area I want to design in, right? With shapes. Who remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So let's say I want to design a chart screen now. I can just map it out like this and start doing. But then you've learned the corner radius and you can make it independent, or you do all together. Let me just make this 20 also, and I have that. So you can just play around with it. You use this for buttons, use this for your presentation. Let's say I'm doing a design. Yeah, it works on. That's what I was about to say. Let's say I'm doing a design. I see, take for instance something like this. Oh, that takes me to the next thing I want to talk about. So when it comes to frame, there is something called clip content. I will demonstrate that here. This item you are seeing here like this now, they are inside this frame, but they are extended beyond the width of the frame. If you want to see what is inside your frame that is extending through the line, you just uncheck your clip content. I've just checked it now. Are you seeing that? So if you just over there, you see the line, but when you uncheck it, you need to take note of these things. Clip content works. Remember I said the property bar changes with respect to whatever you are selecting. Now we are selecting a frame. Are you getting me? So we can also play with the width of the frame, the height of the frame, the position of the frame, but I'm not doing that now. So the clip content shows you can show content beyond the frame and that is inside the frame, you understand? So talking about corner radius working for frame, you can also, if I want to present this now, maybe like a normal phone, I can just give it 20 and you see something like this. You can see it, right? See that it's curved. If I want to make it more realistic, I can make it 30. So it looks like a real frame screen. Are you seeing that? Maybe you want to do your presentation, like you want to, what's it called? Behance presentation, or maybe you want to just export your design. Sometimes when I do my designs like this, I can just get an Instagram post frame, something like this, social media. You can actually export your design if you want. So I have a frame like this. Now let's say I want to show my work, like just demonstrate my work. Let me duplicate this guy. I can bring it here. Let me change the color of my screen. You can also give your frame. We'll soon get to fill. I'm teaching about property bar today. So if I bring something like this, I seen that. So I can demonstrate, or what's the word? Yeah, I can do a demo of my design. Guess what? You can also rotate your screen. That's the angle of rotation. So either you rotate from the edge like this. When you hover around the edge, you see this curve. Can you see the curve now? Your phone is on portrait. You are not doing yourself good. You are not helping yourself. Put it on landscape mode. I can click on this one now and rotate it. This is the corner radius. Are you seeing what I'm doing? Let's say I want to display my design. I can just do something like this. You see that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I can just say X-plore Studios. I know some of you will like this thing. Some of you, when you design one screen, you want to show the whole world. It's good though. That's why I can call you and say, yeah, you are your designer. I have a job for you. X-plore Studios, I can just change this to black. Black is 00 into 6 places. I only know black and white. I must not lie to you. 48. This class will soon end. Somebody is waiting for me. I need to go and eat. All right, so this is it. So if I want to export this thing, now you can also rename the frame if you want. Let me just call this my design. Let me teach you how to export your. Let's say you just did one of your design. You want to show your friends. You can just click on export. Export is also in the property bar. So I've clicked on that file. If I go to export, can you see export here? Export is like the last session. You can see it, right? If I press plus, I will increase this to ×2 or ×3 so that the quality will be sharp. I can export as PDF, as PNG, as JPG, but I want to export as an image. If I click export my design, it's exporting already. To download it. Are you seeing it? So if I open it now, I think it's done. Let me just open it. It's opening now. So you can export design from your property bar also. All these things you may not see them in the course. Oh God, open now, help us, open. Okay, are you seeing the image I just exported? So I can post this on my WhatsApp status now as my design. You understand? Are we together? I can also add shadows. I can add shadow to my design. If I want to go to effect, I'm teaching property. I say I'm jumping now. If I click on shadows, I've just added shadow. You can see it. You can edit the shadow to what you want. All these things are in the course. So for those of us that are new, I can make it blur. I like making the blur very big, like 15. Something like that is cool. So I can do same here. This person is coming late. Oh, we have jumped process. But shadow is also under the property bar. Remember I said today we are just dealing on property bar. Property bar is our focus today. Then if I have time, I will attend to one or two questions from what we have on the WhatsApp group. So I'm not exporting this guy again. I'll just do things and try out things. So these are design. You can see it, right? I'll post this on my status after the class. So the next thing in the property bar you need to know, how did it even come here? Okay, somebody asked if the corner radius can work on frames. I just demonstrated that. OBC that is working, right? So I was talking about the clip content. So if I do a frame like this, now I've unchecked that, you can see what is outside. So if I get a frame like this, let me extend this content like this. You won't see this extra part. Are you seeing it? Take for example, when we are doing carousel, are you getting me? You will not see the extra part of the content that is outside the borders of your frame. So to see it, when you click on the frame, you see this clip content. If I uncheck it, I will see the content outside. Are you following? Please follow. All right, the next thing you want to know about your property bar, this also works with frame, is called auto layout. Auto layout. Auto layout. Auto layout, I use auto layout to build responsive components. Example, my buttons, right? When I'm creating a list, I like using auto layout. Auto layout works when you want to create something responsive, and it pays attention to the spacing between items. Are you getting me? So if I type, maybe I want to create a button now. Do you know I noticed something? No? Let me even confess. This is a big confession I'm making now. When we're creating components, button components in the course, see the way I created my button in that course. Somebody had issues doing that, and she reported to me like, our button is not working. I had to go and watch the course myself. Then I realized that the way I created the button in the course is old ways, is not the current ways. You understand? So this was how I created my button. Well, if you've gone through the components, I drew a rectangle, right? Those of you that watch this part, and I did something like this. If you remember, let's say I gave it 20. This was when I was learning UI. This is now I create buttons now. So if you watch this in the course, ignore it. So I brought a text and I wrote button. If you remember this thing I'm doing, raise your hand. It's in the course, so okay, yeah. So I now brought it like this. You remember, ba? If I unmute your mic. If you So this is not how to create button. Please don't do. If you watch this in the course, just say, okay, I've learned the correct way now. Let me make this 24. This was what I did in that place. Is not correct. Then I grouped it like this, ba. Control G, Command G. This thing will not be responsive. Mute your mic, Chizoba. So what you need to do now is you type the button text, button. This is how you create your button. Then you press Shift A. Shift A is adding auto layout. Shift and A, I've done that. So when you press Shift A, I see auto layout added. It's going to put that text inside a frame. Shift A being auto layout does not only work for button, it works for other content. Maybe you want to create an icon button. Let me quickly get an icon, like maybe a chat button. I'll go to Iconify plugin, right click, go to plugins, select Iconify. I want to close this class very early so that we can grasp what we are doing. Let's say I want to do a chat messaging, message message bot, message icon. Let's just use this, or yeah, select what, plugins. Let's say I want to do a chat button. Let's get more icon. This thing is recorded, don't worry, you watch it later. Okay, I have one on my screen. Okay, let's work with the one I have on my screen. So this is it, right? Okay, talking about the height and the width and constraint proportion. So now if I want to reduce this thing now to something more useful, ideal size for icons when you are designing on phone screen is 18 to 20. Are you getting me? So I want to change my width and height to 20. I'll just click on constraint proportion. If I'm focused on the height, I'll just change it to 20. So both the height and the width will change. Are you seeing that? So if 20 is too, okay, 20 is fine. So if I press auto layout now, this thing always comes with frame. I can just press Shift A, or I'll come to the property bar, which is the next section. I'll click plus. I've added auto layout. So when you add auto layout, you see the auto layout section. Normally I put the content in the middle. Well, it depends on what I'm doing actually. So if I increase the frame now, see what's happening. Are you seeing that? Let's say I want to increase the height of the frame, because I like using my buttons to be around 40. So this kind of stuff now, let's keep it to 40, height 40. I'll also do the width 40 so that it will be a box. So I can give this a fill color. You also find your fill color in what's happening. Okay, it's currently white. Okay, I've given it a fill. You find your fill color in your property bar. We also have our stroke. Stroke is the outline. Let me change this to WhatsApp color. Let me look for green, or Facebook. Facebook is fine. Let's say I'm doing a Facebook kind of messaging icon. So I can select the icon. I also give it a fill color. Let's change it to white. FFF into 6. I only know if I'm black, white and black. So this frame now I can give it that fancy independent corner radius. So I'll make this one sharp. I'll make this one 10 or 15. You see that, right? I'll make this one 15 also. And I'll make this one 15. Let's say I want to do this kind of button. Are you seeing that? Anyway, I've taken it out. I'll undo it. Select the frame properly and bring it. So we can make this our FAB if you want. Or you can make it, I think, let this sharp point be here. So let's make this side 0 and this side 15. You can see that, right? So let's say this is our FAB or a button. So talking about auto layout, I just added auto layout to my button. I use auto layout to create buttons, create lists. Let me make the frame. Let me give a fill color to the frame. To give fill color, you press plus. To take it out, you press minus. Let's give it a red button. Let's say it's an alert. Let's call this ALERT, maybe alert, maybe a prompt or something, or error, ERROR. You can see that, right? I don't want the video to be too long. This video is recorded. I'm going to FFF into 6 places for white color, 00 into 6 places for black color. Any other one, look at this red now, is EE3B3B. How can I cram this one? Who does that? If I change it to something else now, okay, this is the color palette. You find it in the property bar also. This part is the color palette, while this other part is the color tone. So this red I'm choosing now, I mean this is the opacity. So if I reduce it, see that it's reducing back. You can reduce the opacity. I will show you how to use opacity, but for now, let's just stay on the color. I can move it to something like that. So all these things, you find them in the property bar. Talking about auto layout, so I use auto layout to create my button. This is the right way to create your button. I'm changing this from error now to, let's say, sign up. Let's call this sign up. You can edit by double clicking SIGN or add to cart, ADD to cart. You can make your buttons curve also. I like using 20. You can see that, right? Sorry, 20 is not what I like. I like using 15 or 30. You can choose what you like using also. Button text. Remember I said I wanted to talk about typography. I will still do that maybe next week Saturday because the class is already 1 hour. I don't want us to take so much time. So I not watch video for long. I will upload this on my YouTube. So button text is 12 label text. Use 12 for your button or maybe 14. 14 is your body text, while 12 is your label text. I use between 12 and 14 for my button text. You understand? But 12 is better. Let's use 12. So I can keep this at 10. When you are doing design, you need to have design eyes. I keep my button most of the times at 40. So this is a perfect button for me. 40 to 50 is a perfect button. So what am I doing? I'm showing you how auto layout works. I use auto layout for my button. You see how the button is staying at the middle, no matter how I increase it, right? It's called responsive design. Maybe one of these Saturday will deal on responsive design. So the auto layout has option is another section of your property bar. You only find it when you add it to, if I click on this container, you won't see auto layout. Remember, the property bar changes with respect to whatever you are selecting, right? Too many information in one day is not good. I'll just do 2 more things and we'll call the class a wrap so I can take questions. So the next session I want you to know, we're not done with the auto layout. Auto layout, this one is spacing between items. If you want to add an icon, let's say I want to add a cat icon. Let me quickly get it. Iconify is a plugin that gives you robust, can you see 170,000 icons. So you can search as long as you know the keyword. So let me just type, oh, this thing is entering. Let me type cat, C-A-R-T, enter. So I'll just quickly get this. You drag and drop. That's how you get your icon. So if I want, normally the icon comes with a frame. I like taking it out. I didn't take out this one, but I'll take out this other one. So if you put it here while it has auto layout, you have something like this. Remember I said the best size for your icon is 18 to 20, right? So I think this 20 looks too big. You need to also know how to play with consistency. So if you are using icons, let them maintain the same value. So if my icon is 18 here, any other place I'm using icon, I'll still use 18. Are you getting me? So you can switch between this in the auto layout. I'm going to stop now. I know your head is already full. Go and play with this one I've done so far. For those of you that are working on your project already. So I have that. You can see it, right? Add to cart. You can change the color and all of that. So what I would have talked about again is color. Let's just do, okay, let's do stroke first. Stroke is for outline. Stroke is another section you find in the property bar. If I click on this plus sign, I've just added outline. You can press the minus sign to take out the fill if you don't need it. Minus is to take out, plus is to add. If I press minus, now I've taken out the fill. If I press minus, I've taken out the stroke. That element is still there. You can see it, but no fill, no stroke. So if I give it a fill color, you see it. If I take it out, you also see it. If I press plus for stroke, you will see it. The stroke and the fill has eyes. Eyes. This eye icon is to hide it. I've hidden the stroke even if it's there, but I'll put it back. Are you getting me? The stroke has weight, which is the thickness. You can increase it to 5. I seen that. You can take it to 3, depending on what you want. But anything you are doing, be consistent. So if I'm using 2 for my stroke, and there are other elements that has stroke, let's say a circle or something, I won't use 5 there and use 2 here. It has to be consistent. So you can also change the stroke color. The color palette is just the same, both for fill and for stroke. So if I want to make it red, I'll just do something like that. So you find all these things in the property bar. You can get your hands dirty by exploring. The major thing I wanted to talk about today is this position, the alignment, and a few things I've also talked about. Every other thing like effect, adding shadow is there. I've demonstrated export today, how you can export your design. Please don't go and do all your screens and say you want to export them one by one. It doesn't make sense. You only export what you are presenting. When we get to Behance presentation, like building your portfolio or arranging your portfolio, you will use the exports very well. You will use it very well because you'll be exporting the image. Your portfolio is image of what you've done before in the past. You understand? So that will be all for now. If you have question, first of all, if you got value or you learned something, you type I got value. You got value from today's session or tonight's session. I want to see you typing. Then if you have questions, raise your hand. Let's take questions very fast. The video is recorded. Let me end the record so it will not be too long so I can take questions now.